Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Dem Boys Watch Footy, your place for football and fun. It's your boy E. We're down a few of them boys this week. We got Waj.
What it
Man,
is.
how's it going? How's the weekend?
Man, good weekend, man. It was good to see you, good to see the peeps, enjoying the sun. Trying to make it down to the beach, but unfortunately the plans didn't quite metastasize. So
Yeah,
hopefully,
it was oddly uh no sun for long
yeah,
periods of time this
yeah.
weekend. So
I was like, what is this, like hot England? Like, get out of here.
at least we have air conditioning over on this side of the Atlantic. So
Facts. Thank you, Con Edison.
for sure. And want to give everybody some love. Hope you are getting to stay cool wherever you are in this world. Again, thanks again for listening to us today on wherever you're listening. So we have YouTube, we have Spotify, we have Apple Podcasts, we have all the things, as we like to say. But yeah, we want to get into it just a little bit. Today, we're talking more about the business side of things and kind of want to see where we're landing, especially because I used to work for one of the companies that we're going to start discussing. So, our first space that we're talking about is moving into the hospitality space and understanding how the FIFA World Cup is going to be working, especially now after we saw how the Copa worked in the United States. So, Waj,
Yeah.
how do you think some of the things that you saw from Copa, some of the things that we know that FIFA is going to be forcing all U.S. cities, all Canadian cities, all Mexican cities to have when the World Cup comes here in 2026? What are some of the things that you saw from Copa that needs some shoring up or needs some love before the World Cup gets here?
Man, God, the first thing, of course, is security and just beefing up of security at stadiums, but also the practicing of actually getting the fans in and organized entry for the fans, getting through the gateways, everything. And I think the biggest thing to me, that I've been thinking about a lot is going to be the fan, the fan zones that they're going
Yeah,
to be opening up, and how's that going to work? So obviously that's going to be run by FIFA, and obviously it can be done, I think, very well in a lot of cities across all three countries. But again, just looking at organization wise, and I know we're going to give a lot of crap to Miami, but I mean, look, it was a shit show.
yeah,
uh and if that's what we can expect from any big game, then FIFA has a lot of work cut out for them.
yeah,
With that said, I think that FIFA will. I think they'll pull their shit together. I just feel like they have enough time to do it, and as long as they look to what happened in Miami as, like, not even the worst case scenario, but a possible scenario,
yeah,
then that's what they have to figure out. Beyond that, though, I think just creating the vibe is going to be one of the biggest challenges that FIFA is going to have. Not so much in Mexico, but in Canada and the States. Um, and just creating that culture with that makes the World Cup so special, and welcoming so many people from around the world to come to these three amazing countries and to celebrate all these teams that will be playing. So yeah, I think they've got a lot of work cut out for them in those two regards, the vibe and the security. Um, and to be quite honest, one thing that I really hope they don't mess up is just a good World Cup song. I'm still bitter from World Cup South Africa with Shakira, so I'm like,
Waka
you have a
Waka,
lot of
baby.
artists here. Oh man, don't get me started. That stolen
Hey,
song.
I love that song, honestly. That song lives on from 2010. Like I I don't think there's been a better World Cup song since.
That's what actually angers me so much is people love it and it's catchy. And Freshly Ground is in it, so let me give my props up to Freshly Ground because they are a South African band. But man, how you gonna have a Colombian person singing the World Cup song for South Africa? Get out of here. So
You
Shakira, I
needed
know
a
you.
you needed a top
Shakira's the
artist.
dope, but
Yeah.
there's plenty of
Oh,
top artists in Africa. And that song wasn't even that song's not even original.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's just focus on that.
Definitely. And yeah, want to piggyback off of what you're talking about security. So in the US, we have 11 cities hosting: Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Houston, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Miami, New York, New Jersey. So that's the Meadowlands. That's where the final is going to be.
Hmm.
Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Seattle. And so some of these places have really great MLS culture already. One
Yeah,
thing that
for sure.
Seattle, especially Portland, do extremely well, they know how to welcome soccer in the Pacific Northwest. We've seen it since their inaugurations, but some of these cities like Dallas, Houston has a really good space with the Dynamo, but I am very worried about Dallas. They don't really care about FC Dallas, so you got a
Hmm.
bunch of let's talk about trying to get a bunch of people from, let's say, um, Europe, over in Sweden, going around to get some pit barbecue over in Dallas. How is that going to work out? You got people who are used to having walkable cities, having to take cars everywhere, and we already
Yeah.
know how bad some of the congestion is going to be within some of these major cities during this time. One thing that I'm looking at right now is, to your point with the fan zones, with France upcoming with the Olympics, that city's already at its teetering point of having too many people, and there's already a big stretch with their public transportation right now, and that's in
Yeah.
a country that has really great public transportation. So I'm more worried about, and as you said, those fan zones, those specific spots. I mean, the U.S. has its own myriad of issues politically that we're not going to dive into, but hey,
Hmm.
this is always something in the forefront of visitors coming to the U.S. You got to worry about guns. Like, how are we going
Yeah.
to ensure that we make these people feel welcome to actually be here? And
Yeah.
so, one thing that I'm seeing right now, right before I switch it over to you, is one thing I'm seeing right now is, on location. They just got the hospitality rights to work with FIFA for this event. They're also doing it with the Olympics right now. So they're kind of on a roll of being able to take over some of those packages that I was able to work on when I was working back then. Uh, I could see how people can be taken advantage of with the Copa Miami. You had people spending probably 10 to 50,000 to 100,000 for tickets that they weren't even able to sit at. So if we have to figure out a way to make sure that these people actually get to go to the games. You spend all that money, you're just like, hey, I gotta get it. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So yeah, wanna switch it back over to you really quick.
Yeah, no, I mean that I think that's such a good point. Like can people get in, how the city is gonna how is the infrastructure of these cities gonna handle this influx? And like you said, you're gonna have, once, especially I think in the group stages, things will be a bit calm. And I hope that FIFA would strategically place teams around where it's gonna be kind of the most what's the word I want to use? Yeah, it's gonna be the most advantageous to the fans of said countries when they come visit. But with that said, that can only work in the group stages. Once we get into
Exactly.
knockouts, then people are gonna be traveling all around this country. Um, with what just happened, 2 days ago with
Yeah.
the IT shutdown alone. I mean, granted, that's kind of a one-off thing, but I can only imagine the type of infrastructure problems, the delays we're gonna have. I mean, if people are gonna stop flying on, janky airlines too, how's that gonna work to get across the country? We have a busing system. Are cities that don't have great public transport now all of a sudden going to use shuttle buses?
Mhm.
It's going to be something else.
Yeah.
And I've been to the Olympics in China, for example, which is such an amazing event. But even getting around the country, they created systems for it. But obviously, America's not China, and I'm afraid to say, yeah, it's going to be difficult to get around for the fans unless we see some massive government spending, which I don't foresee
Yeah.
on an infrastructure plan, which will be hailed at the opening of the World Cup. So that's me well wishing, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, we see it every day. The infrastructure of just New York is crumbling around. But I mean, like, if
The
you
subway's
go
gonna be
into,
something else.
oh my gosh, I'm worried if there's a rainstorm, people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I have to get to New Jersey from Manhattan, and suddenly there's just slogs and puddles where you're walking off the L train to get to the path, and you're just like, "Oh, this is terrible." Like,
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
this is going to be something to see, and that's something that I'm really on the watch out for, especially because in Mexico gets to play their group stage games there. You have
Exactly.
some other teams playing their group stages there as well, but it's like after the group stage, no one's going to be in Mexico anymore. You have Canada playing their group stages in Canada, and you have a few other teams playing there. After the group stages, everything is going to be within the U.S. And already people don't understand. Like from New York to LA is 3,000 miles. You're just going to have tired fans all over unless they've planned it out perfectly. And
Yep.
this is something that you have to see with FIFA. You have to see with On Location. You have to see with the different partners that are going around, because some of the best parts of what I've heard of experiencing a World Cup is just being able to go to the different cities. They're far enough, but they're close enough where you actually have a good
Hmm.
seeing
Yeah.
what happened over in Qatar. You had a really beautiful display of people just being able to move around. Their infrastructure, though it was built by very questionable means,
No.
it was
Yeah,
still
I'll
in
leave it
a
at that.
great place, you
Yeah,
know?
but a tiny place, and that's the difference. Is yeah, sure, Qatar works, South Africa works, Germany works with the infrastructure for us, France, all these different countries. Yes, we've got the stadium infrastructures, and hopefully we'll have the housing and the accommodation. It's not
Yeah.
even getting to dive into that swamp. But at the end of the day, it's gonna how you gonna be getting around? How much money we'll be spending? And just with the cost of flights these days in the States compared to flying around in Europe, for example,
Hmm.
it's going to be a whole different ballgame. So, like you said, people are going to have to really start thinking about strategically how they're going to get around the States and how much it's going to cost them.
Yeah.
Some road trip. There's going to be a lot of road trips. I'll tell you
It's
that
going to be a
much.
lot of hitchhiking. You're going to see so many Airbnbs listed.
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully, knock on wood, I'm going to be one of those because I really want to go to Mexico for those group stage games.
Yeah, dear Mexico, please invite us.
Yeah, please, please. This is the reason as to why we created Dem Boys Watch Footy, is to just be super involved with the World Cup upcoming. You know,
Yo, not to even mention all the World Cup babies that are going to be spread between all these three countries. I, I,
you're just gonna meet so many different people that a lot of the country hasn't been able to meet because everybody is so intertwined in just their community. That's the amazing
it's gonna
part
be
of it. Like you're bringing the world to your front door. So
yeah.
that's just something
But
that should really be on the watch.
I want to end with one thing though, and again, I know we're kind of being on the negative tone here with it coming to the States, and the point I want to bring up is that the U.S. has never hosted a well, not in the past 15 years, has hosted a competition like this to this scale, this magnitude, and the importance of this. Yes, they've had other international tournaments, around the country, but this is a whole different ball game. And countries with, again, with less infrastructure, in some cases, have not been able, have still been able to pull it off, but I really hope that the good old USA can pull this off and make it one for the ages, because
Yeah,
it'll go down in history.
yeah. Oh, for sure. I was going to stop you there because we did host the World Cup in '94. So hold
Right,
up.
but that was different. Yeah, I was smaller.
But yeah, as you said, like you're seeing just the boom. Like this is the largest World Cup ever. So as a project manager, just seeing like the overview, the scope of it, the magnitude of it, I'm very positive FIFA, their team is going to be able to do it well. But we just got to make sure like the different cities understand the things that they're undertaking. You're going to have a boon in the economy for sure. Like everybody's going to be happy money wise that are in the right spaces of hospitality, business. Like it's going to be amazing to see that way. But as well, there's just some pitfalls that I'm very worried about, and Copa kind of
Hmm.
magnified it. And we didn't even talk about stadium infrastructure, and
Yeah,
that's its own thing, especially because over in the Euros, Germany had some issues, and they're a football country. So
facts.
there's only so many things that we can focus on right now to say like, hey, US, you got to step it. Like
Yeah,
this is our chance to not be a laughing stock anymore. Like football's coming here. We have a chance to bring it home. The squad is going to be strong. So, yeah. that's where I'm going to end for that one. And then,
No, yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
really want to hear from all of our listeners. Please leave a comment. Just tell us what you feel if you're going to be at the World Cup, any different cities that you're kind of eyeing for it, anything that you want to see really beefed up or taken away. Like, really would love to hear your thoughts on that subject. So second thing that we wanted to focus on is the money that's coming from media that came from this past uh, Euro as well as the Copa America. So Fox Sports, they are also going to be hosting for the World Cup 2026. And so they got to see firsthand their viewership from the previous tournaments that they did. It went up 34% from the 2021 turnout that they had, the Copa America. So it went up. Uh, we had 1.418 million viewers across all the Fox broadcast uh, flagship for the Copa as well as the Euros this past year. It's amazing to see. I was not impressed with their coverage, but I understood as to why they were the right ones to take it over. Now, my question that I pose to you, Waj, as well as the audience, is who do you want to see take over coverage as we continue to expand? I really love what Amazon's doing within the sporting world. They're taking over within football. They just got one of their bids with basketball kind of matched right now with Warner Brothers Discovery. But I kind of want to hear from you, Waj. Like, who do you want to see take over?
No, it's funny. I mean, this is so much more of your world than it is mine. But I mean, I did not enjoy Fox. I did not enjoy listening to the commentators. I thought it was trash.
Yeah,
Um, and just like it was boring. All of it was boring. I think the best team, and they're not even American, but the best team is the CBS team in terms of if we're talking like for the Champions League between Kate Abdo, TT, of course, the legend Thierry Henry, Michael Richards, and that whole squad. I just think that they bring that excitement, and the U.S. needs a version of that can talk not only intelligently and can bring excitement to the game, but they're going to have those personalities. Um, I mean, I think Tim Howard is good.
he's really good for
Uh,
NBC.
yeah, I enjoy listening to him. I think the NBC team is also awesome. Shout out to the NBC team. For the Prem, what they do is fantastic. But again, there's only one or two Americans, who are anchoring on those shows. So I think that the Golazzo guys as well on CBS. I think they do a great job. They need to have I think they'd be well suited to be on a platform like that for the World Cup. So to me, it's about the personalities. I don't think there's any good four or four presenters that are really who work together currently that I enjoy that who are American. They're all obviously scattered for the different networks. Um, with that said, yes, with Fox Sports getting the deal, not too happy about that. I know obviously they killed Apple in that deal
Yeah,
to get it. So I mean, I- Apple of course has the deal with MLS, so they've got some good presenters there that I've listened to. But I don't know too much about their roster of presenters.
hmm,
So again, they've got 2 years to find the right people. But right now, yeah, I think it's pretty lackluster. Landon Donovan, is kind of one of the anchors as well. In terms of presenters, he was literally one of the staples, who I think
yeah,
is good, but it's because of his pedigree.
yeah.
Um, and
He
he
understands
knows
football.
his stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
he knows his stuff, and he can speak to it. And again, he's still remembered by so many of us.
yeah.
That I think he's a much better position to say Alexi Lawless, for example, who I'm like, yeah, all right, fine, bring on Tim Howard.
Yeah.
Um,
I've been trying to get rid of Alexi Lalas out of the lexicon of American soccer for so long, but he just keeps coming back from the dead. Like
yeah, for real. I
yeah,
thought we were done.
he's created a niche where everybody needs to hear from him because he's so brash, but some of his takes on footy outside of just the United States, you can see it in the other presenters' faces whenever he speaks. Most recently, Daniel Sturridge, former Liverpool striker. There's a clip of him looking at Alexi like, "What are you talking about, man?"
So what
And
you on, mate?
yeah, it just felt like a road man was just listening to a Yank for the first time, and he's just like, brother, what is he talking about? So completely agree with you. I mean, seeing as though we are stuck with Fox, like I'm not going to trash them too bad. I do agree with you. It got boring in certain bits. I would have loved to see NBC make a run. I love what they do with
Yeah,
their presentations with the Olympics. We're going to see, just like we were about to talk about for our main topic, is the Olympics, Olympic soccer pieces, and I like what they do presenting wise. I love what they do for the Premier League. I love how they scatter their teams around, but then as well they have their central hub. They know how to actually connect with the fan. They create their own fan zones within the U.S. for games.
yeah.
Like they create a very strong atmosphere, and that's something that I haven't seen with Fox. Hopefully, somebody can tell them or show them this is how you are trying to embrace instead of just saying, here's what we have, take it or leave it." Like I've always hated that way of how traditional media works. I do
Mhm.
love some of these other spaces. BN back in the day, they used to do very well with trying to get us in. The reason why I even know about PSG in the French league at all is because I was watching pirated streams of BN. I was
Don't say it
watching.
too loud now. Don't
Oh
say
yeah,
it too loud now.
no. Well, we're now meteor people, so we were just throwing it in there. But back in the day, like some of those Al Jazeera back in the day had really good presentation. It's just surprising to think about like the entire pageantry around being able to present and being able to commentate. Some people just don't know how to do it well, and Fox
Yeah,
they spend all of this money to make sure that they have it, and then they give us such a subpar product and say, "Oh, what's the issue here?" That's something that I've never loved about it, and that's why I wanted to bring this topic up because their numbers are going up. Advertisers were on it. Everybody wanted to. Everybody was loved this summer of footy. Like this was one of the
yeah.
best summers
It
of
was
footy.
fantastic.
Yeah, you had an entire month of 2 games a day. Like, well, more than 2 matches a day. You had 3 from the Euros when it was still group stages, and then you had 2 from the Copa every day for about 2.5 weeks, and then we switched
Yeah,
to 2 a day, which was some of the best stuff of all time. And they had our eyes glued from even in the office. I know there are offices that had it on. Gyms had it on. You had different spaces all across the United States. Bars were loving what was going on. So we just need to find a way to marry traditional media with the up and coming wave of football presenters and commentators
yeah.
and just show them the way to do it. And so that's what I really wanted to hark on because that's pretty important to me, just like getting the message out there and people not getting bored by it. So, well, yeah, please let us know how you feel. Who do you want? What are some up and coming people that we haven't even talked about? Like Galazzo has a big stable of people. I personally
Yeah,
love
yeah, yeah.
Telemundo, that was always a good one. Watching in Spanish most of the time, you're having more energy anyway. So, yeah, love to hear
100%.
from your fans.
So I was actually reading earlier today that NBC is sending 150 people down there for that's the presenter roster. So they have 150 commentators going to the Olympics, which is amazing.
Mhm.
So, and that includes, not just seasoned presenters, but also their medal winners and amazing athletes who have competed at the World Cup, at the Olympics.
Mhm.
So, I mean, there are some great names. I was just going through a list. You got John Champion, even Julie Foudy, Marissa Pia, Tiffany Blackman, Joe Spite, and Tim Howard. Again, he's going to be there as well. Um, and then even some other folks. So I think we're going to, hopefully, again, I'm knocking on all the woods, knocking on all the woods that they come up with a good roster. And, I think the U.S. usually does a good job. But again, just speaking purely for footy, I hope that this roster they're sending out like does a good job. So we'll see because we got the game coming up, just around the corner.
Yeah, for sure. Olympics are starting up in the next 2 weeks, so yeah, it's going to be a something to watch. And so yeah, I think that's an amazing transition over to our main topic for the day. We're going to be talking about the Paris Olympics, uh, men's and women's footy. So if you're not a big women's footy fan, you're going to hear it anyway. um,
That's why
so
I'm
yeah,
wearing my shirt, man. That's why I got my 3 stars. Like
I
get
feel
big
it.
up to the U.S. women's team.
Yeah, yeah, they are always killing it, but I don't even think they are the favorites for this year. So, yeah, let's
No,
start
they are
off.
not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, let's start with the men's side of the bracket. So there are 16 countries that have qualified: France, United States, Guinea, New Zealand, Argentina, Morocco, Ukraine, Iraq, Uzbekistan, Spain, Egypt, Dominican Republic, Japan, Paraguay, Mali, and Israel. One thing to make sure that we note, this is a full senior level tournament, but you're restricted to having players of under 23 or younger. Now, there are 3 spots where you can have players that are older than 23, but you're restricted to just having players that are 23 or younger. To keep it as true to the spirit of the Olympic Games of amateurism and making sure that everyone has an opportunity to kind of showcase. So yeah, would love to hear your opening thoughts on who do you think is going to medal. So getting both gold, silver, bronze, and any upsets that we need to see. As correctly predicted on our show, Spain was going to take it over. So yeah, would love to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, so it's always interesting with having like an international football competitive year and then going to the Olympics. So a lot of players have been pulled by their teams and not allowed to play. But right now, I do believe France has one of the strongest squads. Um, for Argentina, unfortunately, sorry guys, Messi will not be playing in the Olympics, so
Yeah.
he's out. Um, but I think it's going to be between France and Spain. I think are going to be two of the biggest favorites. USA are not very much considered to even make. They're expected to make it out of the groups, but not very much further than that.
Hmm.
Um, I don't truly know enough about all these young under 23 squads to give a good prediction.
Hmm.
However, with that said, I would say I do know enough about the France squad and Spain squad to know that they're going to be coming with some heavy hitters. So it should be interesting. But that's the thing with the Olympics, because so many of the main stars are not actually going to be there. They're the young kids. Of course, you've got, a few, again, all the overage players that are going to be there that have, made their bones in various leagues. It's going to be surprises. And I'm personally excited for the African countries, as well as this, see how far the states can go, for the men's. But particularly, I'll be keeping my eyes on Egypt, Mali, Guinea, and Zambia. Those are going to be, sorry, Zambia's playing in the women's, but those are going to be my main three to watch, on top of the USA. And of course, giving it up to France. I want to see how far they can get. Fortunately, they don't have Zaire Emery playing, which was going to be a big boost to their squad. But they still have a lot of very, very talented players on that team, and a former Arsenal captain and forward Alexander Lacazette will be playing. Um, for the U.S. team, I'm excited to see Busio and some of the older players,
Hmm.
and the young chap who just got signed over to Chelsea. I forget his name right now, but he of course, just got signed about yesterday, I believe.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm excited to see just the talent that we're going to see out of the U.S. and see how far they can get. But yeah, again, it's going to be a whole bunch of surprises. What do you have?
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to mainly talk about the players first that I'm really excited to see. We have Walker Zimmerman. He just signed over with Juventus, actually. So, no, wait,
Hmm.
sorry, that's another guy that I was thinking about. Sorry. We have Walker, who's playing for Nashville SC, big, towering center back. But we also have a player from the U.S. that signed from. He was playing for Venezia, and then he's switching over to Juventus now. Forgetting his name. Tanner Tessman. That's his.
Testament, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty excited to see him pop up. France, you have Michael Olise. He just signed with Bayern Munich over from Crystal Palace. That man, he's going to take the world by storm. I think this year.
Yep,
I don't think
absolutely.
people really noticed how good he was, and unless you really watch Premier League footy, like you probably don't really care about him. But he's being coached by Thierry Henry, which is an amazing thing, especially coming off the right. He's a left-footed guy. Thierry was a right-footed guy, but he always came from the left, so he can tell you some things about the wing. You have Julian Alvarez. He just won the Copa with Argentina, and he's going to go over to play for this World Cup squad as well, which is pretty insane. You have Nicholas Otamendi, the old man on the squad. He's keeping up
Hmm.
somehow for Argentina. Again, he just won with the squad for the Copa, and now he's coming over. Guinea, you have Naby Keita.
Very
Surprisingly,
excited.
he's dropped off a little bit, but he's still strong enough to like patrol over the middle. So it's amazing to see with him. And then some other squads that I'm thinking. Obviously, Spain. You have a pretty good chance to see how they play. Their former coach De La Fuente. He was the former youth coach for Spain, where he's won gold at the Euros. He's won at every level with Spain, and now he's transferred over to this team. But everybody's still going to play within his system. So you already know that Spain with Fermin Lopez and Alex Baena, you have an actual chance to play a same style where it translates from one level to the next level to the next. So everybody has an opportunity to continue to keep growing for that squad. So I'm looking more at Spain to
Yeah.
probably win it out. I think France is going to be silver. They're going to lose in that one. And I'm really feeling I want to say either US or Argentina, but I can even see like a crazier thing pop out, like
That's what I'm
Japan.
saying.
Yeah, I could see Japan just kind of taking over because they have an amazing U23 squad. I mean, I'm a huge anime nerd. You have Blue Lock, which is one of the most amazing animes that specifies on footy and trying to find the perfect striker. So, hey, if you get a little bit of energy, go watch that show. If you need a little bit of crossover, here you go. But that's what I'm looking
Anything
for
a
on the men's.
segue.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for on the men's side. Uh, did you give your gold, silver, and bronze?
I did not. I'm not ready yet. I'm not
Oh,
ready yet. We gotta give it to the people next week.
okay. All right. Sounds good.
After the open is on the 26th in 4 days. So once we get that, then I'll be able to give some better predictions. I'm not there yet.
Okay, all good. All
Sorry,
good.
guys.
All right, now we're switching over to the women's. We have three groups that are going to be playing within it. In the U.S., though we've won gold many a time before, we are not the favorites this year. So with the women's groups that actually made it, we have in Group A, we have France, Colombia, Canada, New Mexico. Oh, New Zealand. We have Group B, United States, Zambia, Germany, and Australia. And Group C, we have Spain, Japan, Nigeria, and Brazil. So, from those groups, who do you think is going to medal?
So Spain is favored to take home the gold. I know they've got a very strong young squad. There's not a lot of love for the U.S. right now. Unfortunately, it looks like Emma Hayes has her work cut out for her.
Hmm.
She, of course, is such an amazing coach coming from Chelsea after 7 years, I believe,
Yep.
and now coming over to take over the U.S. women's team. So they did have a dismal start in their preseason games just recently, but I would love to see them. I would love to see them come through and do something. Can they medal? I'm not sure yet.
Mm.
My second, and this is mainly because of Barbara Banda, but would be Zambia
Mm.
to medal. I know that's very unlikely, but she is a phenom, and I just think that would be absolutely fantastic if Zambia could take silver. Um, for gold, oh man, now you got me. I think there's this. I mean, I would sorry for bronze. I think also France has a fantastic team. I think that they'll medal. Um, but it just depends. Yeah, can they get out of the group? I think if France, Zambia, their own separate groups, and Spain all get out of their groups, then those would be my favorites. Of course, you've also got Brazil, and it is Marta's last the legendary Marta. It is her last Olympics.
Hmm.
So I'd love to see how far they can go. And of course, you should never count out Brazil. So those are gonna be my four favorites. Who will win? Anybody's guess. I will get back to you next week once we get the games
I feel it. I feel it.
going.
So for me, what I'm really looking for, Spain, of course. I mean, they have an amazing squad. U.S. has an amazing squad. I'm looking at Nigeria, Aziza Ashola, Z,
Mm,
as she is known as. She's quite amazing, and I feel as though she's going to give this Nigerian squad a real chance to be able to make it out of the group stage. I feel as though Spain and Nigeria are going to take it out of Group C. Sorry, Brazil. Sorry, Japan. For Group B, I have the United States and Australia. For some reason, those Aussies, I'm really
yeah, those are the
feeling,
Aussies.
yeah, I'm really feeling like their strength in this upcoming Olympics. I don't know what it is, but um, they in the previous World Cup they went pretty far, and I'm really feeling like that continuity. They don't have the same restrictions as the men's side has. But they do
Yeah.
have a few restrictions where you're making sure that players are getting their due. So I feel as though Australia has a really strong chance to beat out Zambia and Germany. And then as well, France, of course, but I could also see Colombia making it out of that group. Sorry, Canada. Sorry, New Zealand. But that's kind of where I'm leaning towards with the U.S. getting gold. I feel Spain is going to get silver, and I feel Nigeria is going to beat France for the bronze. So that's my take on it.
Man, if that happens, that would be crazy.
Yeah,
That would
it
be
would have
absolutely crazy. That would send a shockwave through the halls and to the streets of Paris and through all of France.
oh yeah.
Just going back to one thing you said though, you're talking about Colombia. Again, we've got another big hitter coming out of Colombia, the face of Colombia's women's football, Linda Caicedo.
Mm,
She's 19. She's seen as one of the best prospects in women's football right now. She's already playing at Real Madrid. So yeah, I think again it's gonna be all come down to just I think come down to some big plays by some up and coming stars and the young guns. So I'm very excited to see the youth coming out and going crazy.
yeah.
So hopefully we just get a good one and it's gonna be um Europe, I mean Europe, yeah, Europe versus Africa versus South America in this one. That's what I see coming out of this.
But I mean, it's just going to be an amazing. Just like we're just getting so much footy, and this is all before club. So,
Yeah,
like,
right.
if you weren't a fan, like, you have the most amazing chance to just become a new fan, watch a new generation, also watch different football. Like, seeing men's versus seeing women is an entirely different experience. So,
Hmm.
and they're both rewarding in their own right. So, yeah, would
Most def-
love
oh,
to
and
hear.
I forgot. Oh my goodness, you
What?
almost let me go without saying. I'm so excited to see again another one from the American side. Again, let's bring it back to the red, white, and blue. Trinity Rodman.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see Trinity Rodman. And again, this is just to, give America, the U.S. women's team, just another little, some more love. This is a whole new squad we're going to be seeing, well, not completely new with the players, but in terms of the strategy now with Emma Hayes coming in. So this is now going to be a prelude to the Women's World Cup.
Yep.
And regardless of where the states finishes, and again, I hope that they medal. I just don't think it's probable. This is going to be the beginning of what should be hopefully a dynasty that the ladies can bring back
Hmm.
and get another star for their crest.
For sure. I mean, Sophia Smith is who I'm really looking out for. She's going to be up top with Trinity, and
Hmm.
she, I
Yeah,
mean,
she's a beast.
she has to take over for Alex Morgan.
Yeah.
So I know those are very tall boots to fill, but I definitely feel as though she has the wherewithal to be able to do it. So yeah, would love to hear our listeners' thoughts. Please let us know, who do you feel on both the men's and women's side. Who are you looking for? What is a big upset? Please just send us over a like and then send over your thoughts to us. And to close this out, we're going with some MLS news. Some craziness has happened. All of the international footy has kind of subsided on the big tournament outside of the Olympics, as we just discussed. But MLS was still trotting through. One game that I want to focus and highlight on is the Rocky Mountain Cup. It's a rivalry between Real Salt Lake and my old squad, the Colorado Rapids. Colorado, it's also very interesting to see. Real Salt Lake's coach is the former captain as well as former champion with the Colorado Rapids, Pablo Mastroeni, and it was his first time. It was Utah's first time ever losing the Rocky Mountain Cup outside of a COVID year since 2015. And Colorado did it in
Okay.
style and a little bit of craziness because of a crazy storm that hit Dick's Sporting Goods Park over this past weekend. There was a 2-hour rain delay. And so if you see any of the highlights, you're going to be like, where did all the people go? Colorado is notorious whenever there's a bad storm, you find shelter and you hurry to go over there. But the football was quite amazing to watch. It ended up being 3-2. The captain for Real Salt Lake, he ended up handballing in the final minutes. Real,
Word.
yeah, Colorado was able to convert a penalty to win 3-2, able to take over the cup. So very big ups to them. And yeah,
Big up Colorado.
yeah, love it. Love to see that squad is getting a lot of love over in the Western Conference right now. So yeah, would love to hear what your thoughts on the MLS corner of the evening.
Well, I'm not too versed in the world of MLS. My snobbishness requires that I stay in the EPL. But what I would say is that, hey, anything that's good for the owners of the Colorado Rapids, who also own Arsenal, is good for me. So, so with that, yeah, I guess I need to watch the highlights and see what happened. I didn't know about all this drama. I didn't know you had drama like that in MLS.
Oh yeah,
Unless it was Messi or Luis Suarez.
yeah. I mean, right now Inter Miami is still tops of the entire MLS right now because that squad was just humming along. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, good for them. It actually wasn't even the weather wasn't even a Rocky Mountain Cup. So I'm sorry, fans. It's something that I need to learn more about. I'm not there yet. I'm taking it step by step.
hey,
You know,
I mean, Apple, you get free membership to watch Apple TV. So give that a whirl whenever you can.
shameless plug. Well, I am listening and learning, and I shall I shall make some time.
For sure. Well, yeah, and on that note, let's give this one over. We're going to end it right here. Thank everyone again for listening to Dem Boys Watch Footy. It's your boy E is Waj.
Hey,
Thank you again. Have a good one.
have a good one.